Is everyone ready for best music?
Sure.
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 We're gonna do best music, our best soundtrack category, not the same as best audio. Best music is purely
Just
bangers.
music.
Purely bangers, that's right. So we are going to pick for the categories that you have nominated, go ahead and pick a small handful of songs, at most 3, and we're gonna play a minute from each.
So my big thing when it comes to Hi-Fi Rush and best music is, like I said before, like this is a game that is taking very well-known like rock music and taking a very DMCA-able soundtrack and having a streamer mode that fucking rocks. So I am showcasing just again like the popular songs that are used in actual like setup and then the equivalents that they're making. So right here is the Flaming Lip song, Free Radicals. Like the beginning, that is also part of the cutscene that gets used.
Yeah, there's a lot of needle drops and pulls in this.
You can skip like a little bit closer to the like middle to at least see where like the build is. Even further in. Here we go. And so this is where like the build up of the actual like boss fight would be, where things are going on, giving you the idea. You can move to the next track actually, because here is the in-house band doing, and you'll see it in the titles too, where Flaming Lips Free Radical. Here we have the Hi-Fi Rush OST Captive Normals. It's very
Yeah, they're doing very clever versions of the needle drops that they're pulling from as well.
yeah, and it doesn't feel forced.
Yeah.
So this is the song that plays for part of an escape sequence where you are like a bit of fighting, a bit of just like maneuvering through like a crumbling base. Very high impact, very like momentous and going in. If you want to pull up Inazawa Chainsaw right next to that,
There's a very specific era of rock music that it is pulling from.
late
2004.
90s,
Yeah.
like 2000s. Like there's something that'll show up in my best moment where there's like a song by the Joy Formidable that is just the entire moment. You can now go on to the next song because this is what it's ripping from, a fucking Number Girl track.
I've been meaning to get into Number Girl for like 10 years now.
But here's the thing, this like action adventure game from 2023 is pulling from like harsh, like aggressive rock from the late, like this is very much someone's playlist from high school. And that's the thing where it's like there are a lot of people that like wanted to mod this game and do like their own input, which is fine. Like I'm never gonna sit there and say don't mod it, but it's like there is such a personal flair to this game that it's like, how could you? And
I mean, yeah, like the curation. Any game that
It's the
has
curation.
a big musical component is always going to have a lot of its identity defined by what it chooses, right? Like, yes, the playlist is super important for a game like this. That it's cohesive, that it all meshes together sound-wise, that you don't use like fucking bands that are like 30 years apart. Like, it is important.
Like, it's important that you start with the Black Keys. You have 2 separate Nine Inch Nails songs in here. There's Number Girl. There's a section where you're like listening to Beethoven's Fifth, but it's like a weird remix. Like, it's so eclectic in a way that it makes sense. And all the incidental music is also a lot of fun, but again, we'd be here all day. I at least wanted to highlight, I think, the biggest strength, which is that its streamer mode is so on par with the songs it's already including in its like main soundtrack. And that's it for me.
I put a couple Lies of P things in. Are there any Lies of P ones you want to include?
I'm trying to think if there are any like boss tracks to include.
I was thinking the soundtrack.
I mean, yeah, but like at least showing like the incidental music as well, you know?
Yeah. Like, none of that's bad. It just doesn't stand out to me nearly as much as what they did with the actual soundtrack.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think I should include as a third here?
Let me just listen to Puppet King real quick.
I'll start with this. So the big thing about the music of Lies of P is there is an in-game record player. There's a lot of really amazing like in-world diegetic music as well, but there is an in-world record player that's at your little your Firelink shrine, your little home base, and you find records all throughout the world. And the thing about the records specifically is this game is made by the same people who made DJ Max. So what they did was they did low-key, toned-down classical versions of the songs from DJ Max.
That is
insane.
So fucking cool.
It's so cool.
Come to me, feel alright. Just dance with me all through the night. Turn it out.
And a lot of them are like so cool and moody, and it's like, ooh, it all hits so right.
'Cause I just know feeling of you. Give it to me, baby.
Like just to compare it, I'm gonna put the actual DJ Max version of this song right after this, just so you know,
Just want you step with me, dance
like what this is based off of.
with me, feel alright.
When was the last DJ Max? Oh, it's actually fairly recent. DJ Max Respect 2020.
Yeah.
Make a groove
All right, I'm gonna switch to the DJ Max version of this song. It's so dope. Like, the fact that they did this is so cool.
Okay, you are also showing the comparison.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just like that's what they've done with what these tracks are. It's so dope. There's also a lot of really good diegetic music as well. This is a song that shows up multiple times. I think there's a specific part to it, actually. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this track will just show up in world.
So good.
Like being just played off of like speakers and stuff. Yeah, I think it's also the track that like starts the ending credits as well.
It is like an instrumental, which then goes into like the full vocal theme.
Okay, where does the vocal theme start? Like 2 minutes in?
Might be classified as its own song, I think.
Maybe that would make a lot of sense. Hold on, I think I
Because
can
if
find
this
it.
is sort of like the leitmotif.
Right. I did find another video of just that. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, this is the version that closes out the game, and like this is what shows up in the world.
Je t'ai rencontré simplement, et tu n'as rien
And it's the kind of thing where you have like this beautiful French singing complimenting you just fighting these like disgusting puppets that are trying to kill you.
I do
it's so
like that
brilliant.
the music has a lot more personality than this kind of game usually has. So
Yes.
I am so sick of another massive symphony just playing chords.
Epic orchestra version of what's going
Yes.
on. Like it. I would say that a lot of that still can show up, but
Yeah,
it is
a lot of that
good.
is still in the boss fights, but like there's way more going on musically, like in the world
Exactly.
and like
There are a lot more like I would have loved if more boss fights did include like that. Like there's a theme for it. There's like a name for the genre, but just like the reed instruments, the like lounge aesthetic that comes up in like other points of the game. It's very fun. Like Scott said it honestly, the soundtrack is where the music of the game really shines. The OST can be a little but that's all to say that like there is still something there when it comes to really getting attached.
I'm finding my stuff for Super Mario RPG Remake right now.
I really like that lead violin.
It's so good. No, hold
Very,
on.
very good.
What are all three of these? Like this is we got a Honkai one here. What are the other two?
They're all from Honkai, actually.
All right, we'll go with the Honkai segment right now. Then you can go ahead while I'm finding. What
You know, I really, really, really like everything about Hodge's like whole style. They're just really good at aesthetics, if nothing else, because they do flounder all the time. But one of the things I really like, especially in Star Rail more than Genshin, is it's so eclectic and they fuse so many genres together, right? Like in this, you have a bunch of nice woodwinds. And you have a bunch of synths, and first of all, getting anything sung in Chinese in this part of the world is so freaking difficult. So you have like this nice little piece of, I don't know how faithful it is to traditional Chinese music, but it does sound very Eastern to me. And then they add all the cool synths, and it ends up being like a cool banger. And it's not the usual symphonic shit that I mean I like symphonic music fine, but I hate that in games every time that something big happens it's just always symphonic crap.
Right.
Like I like that they are using other ways of producing big sounds, especially in Star Rail. They lean a lot on electric guitars and synths to create like massive soundscapes, and they have like these lone vocals to create space. Like they don't even put reverb on them, and that just frees up so much space in the mix for the instruments to take all this big space when they finally come crashing in. Like all the pieces that I put in except one follow, like the two pieces that I put in here that are from boss fights, they follow the same print, like just very soft acoustic instruments, often not even double track, just like a single instrument with a single vocal, and then you have the whole massive in modern technology instrumentation just crashing and fill the mix. But it's not just that it was well mixed. I really like how many different styles they're mixing in a single track.
I'm gonna switch
Like-
to the next one.
Yes. In Genshin, you have a bunch of like trying to recreate specific like folk styles. So it's all very nice, but it's also very safe, right? In Star Rail, you have a bunch of like weird mishmash of different instruments and genres and techniques of production. This one that you put in is just like a really nice folk pop song with a little synth. Like, this is the most normal track. It's just a good song. It's nothing that special, but I do think it shows like the average quality of the music that you find. It's not like, it sounds like a real song, but it's in a game.
Man, a real song that I wish was in a real game.
I mean, it's like so often, like, the music in Alan Wake, it's like real commercial music, but it doesn't sound like something people would put on like an album. Like, it sounds made to be played with something else. These songs sound complete. And while I was just looking all the music in stereo, this is a little hard to show to our readers, and I wouldn't want to just I wouldn't want to try to repeat someone else's argument, especially when I just had a very incomplete version of the idea myself, and then I saw this and they put together a lot more pieces than I had myself. Hold on one second, let me find it. I had noticed, because I know very little about music theory in actual technical terms, but I had noticed that you have a lot of recurrent instrumentation and a lot of leitmotifs that like show off across and over and over in different planets. Like, every planet has its own like set of 3 or 4 melodies that keep replaying in different instrumentations and contexts. But this guy right here, I don't know if we want to include this in the sides or if I can just read the title. This guy put together this very thorough dissection of the whole music in the first half of the game, which is, you know, gonna be the first third in like a month.
Right.
And it shows how they not only have recurring leitmotifs, they also use them in the final boss music. They put in all the leitmotifs that they use so far, and they use them in the storytelling of the final boss song. And they use the different instrumentations in the section that's supposed to go with what's happening in the story. Like, it's very well thought out. It's not just a bunch of nice songs thrown in together, but they actually like putting a lot of thought into like, okay, this section of the planet is represented by acoustic instruments and especially like plucked strings, and like this planet usually doesn't have synths, but when the god of the galaxy finally shows up, that's when you get the synths in the track.
Interesting.
Like, it's a very well made soundtrack cover. Like, it's holistically integrated into the game.
I feel like I'm ready for Super Mario.
Sure.
If you have anything, unless you have anything else you want to add.
No, that's fine.
Super Mario RPG remake. Hey, remember fucking Super Mario RPG?
Yes, it's a good game.
Good ass soundtrack. They did it again, baby.
What did they do actually? Did they just like
They redid every track.
Nice.
It's just good. It's Super Mario RPG.
It's good music. It's did Square originally do the original soundtrack?
That's a really good question.
I believe it was like Yoko Shimomura involved, wasn't it?
Yoko Shimomura, yeah. Yoko Shimomura.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, no. Hey, they know what they're doing. And also, like, for all Nintendo's faults, one of the things they've been very good about is like taking a lot of older tracks and like bringing them back in new and interesting ways.
I'll say, like, Nintendo's been very on like the mark about having a live band for anything they have to do nowadays.
Yeah.
And I feel like they can be 50-50 sometimes. Like, how can I say that? Like, I mean, the obvious hot shot is the very stilted or limited tracking on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. When it works, it
I don't.
works.
Here's the
but
thing.
then-
I don't think like a lot of people complain about that soundtrack. I think it's really good. I love that kind of like low key
think-
stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that's a fault of the ensemble that they chose.
Yeah.
I think they deliberately tried to make it very.
No, yeah, and I
minimal.
like it when it does appear, but I think I'm trying to think about where else, where it's like, doing that kind of a thing for, let's say, the music on the New York level of
Right.
Mario
Hey-
Kart.
Hey, do you want to hear?
I
do you want to
mean-
hear Booster's theme?
All right.
This is a couple of years old by now at this point, but a freaking jump up superstar from Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a real band. You can't fake good horns. The brass in that track is so good.
No, definitely.
A fucking added layer of drums here. Oh, I just noticed they spelled this sound in track. Good job, guys.
What?
In the video. Sound in
Original
track.
Soundtrack. Oh, soundtrack. Oh, oh, yeah. I was looking at the title. I was like, what the hell is this man on about?
Holy fuck.
The best of us.
No, it's Booster stream, man. Bro. Oh.
It's just good music.
So
I don't
good.
think it's.
The-
I
the bro-
feel
he-
like I have to keep my ethics and be racist. The music was already there.
It was. Okay, so here's the interesting thing they do with Culex. So your first time you fight Culex in this game, he is in his like sprite form. The music that plays is just the music from Final Fantasy IV.
Okay,
it's dope. It's great. But for the remake, they added several like higher difficulty refights, and one of them, the very last one, is Culex. And this time, he has a full 3D form. And you know what else he has? I had to go and double check and making sure this wasn't like just the Final Fantasy IV battle music from the Pixel remasters, and no, this is full on just a straight up like new composition of that same song.
Yep.
And it's so good.
I was gonna say, double check that this isn't secretly like an Organization 13 boss fight.
I'm
Like,
losing
we've
it.
gotten 2 banger remixes of this same theme in
Yeah.
the last year with 14 and this.
Oh, so good. It goes into the Super Mario RPG style sound tone in that half too. Oh,
That's what I love about this
I
one.
like it a lot, but I really have to be really racist against remakes. It's just, I can't help it. It's in me.
listen, I have a lot of problems with this game. The music is not one of them. The
No,
music's
it
so
is
good.
but it's cheating. It's already there.
Well, it's they brought in
Yeah.
the original composer to reorchestrate
Yes.
all
really
of
good. It is really good, and it is very well recorded. I will say it does, for such a big ensemble, the mix feels a little small to me, but it sounds very good.
I was gonna say, if anything, the music can be the most volatile. A classic Resident Evil Clown Shoes basement, of course. But it's that'd be very meticulous, especially with a soundtrack like Super Mario RPGs that is so beloved. I think it is good that going into the full orchestration, bringing back the original composer, you have something that isn't meant to be a replacement, but just elevates what's already there.
Yeah.
It shows prowess of what they were working on with the SNES sound chip at the time, and then now you also have something that
that is a
beyond
very good
that.
point. This is the first time we've had this with a real band, because it wasn't technically possible when RPG came out, right? It's not like a game from... It's not like Age of Empires, which I am still mad about that one.
I have to double check to make sure. Yeah, also, the thing is, you can just toggle between the new and original soundtracks in this game.
That is a very good option. I
But-
like that.
The new stuff is so fucking good. God. Okay.
It's the only one of these games where I legitimately never even thought about shifting back to the old soundtrack.
Yes. Yeah, it's the fact that like not only have they remixed this music that's already so good, but like they've done it so well. They've done it in a way that is so evocative of the original while just being like a pure step up in quality. But it's like the original music is still really good and you can listen to it and have a really good time, but this complements it so well. God, oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I like it. No, I absolutely like it. I do think, and the original wasn't like a bit pop like masterpiece, right? Like it was very obviously trying to mimic real instruments.
Right. All right, let's move on to Pizza Tower.
Okay, so this game, everyone was talking about it for like 4 months. I don't fucking know anything about it. This is my first contact with it.
So imagine you're an Italian man and you're being menaced.
Just the peppy.
Yeah. You're being menaced by just a pizza entity to try and like do stuff with pizza. Imagine you're playing WarioWare and you're now at the point
Wario
that,
Land.
like Wario Land. Thank you. You're getting to the point where it's like, all right, I got everything that I needed to out of this level. It is now time for me to get out because I am on a time limit to get away from this point. This is the music that plays during each of those breakout sequences where everything is basically just the Indiana Jones beat.
Yeah, this is basically the Pizza Tower theme.
This is. I mean, how do I say this? I love this. It kind of sounds like shit.
Yeah.
But that's obviously by design.
That's part of the charm of it.
No, absolutely. Like,
It's
dude,
good- it's
I
good.
like funk music. I totally get something like shit on purpose. Like, it's really good.
The game is a purely grungy aesthetic, and like it goes like it's like very top down, straight up from the animations to all the designs to the music as well. It is the pure essence of like I'm gonna say Ren and Stimpy. Please understand I say
It's
that
not-
in like the
something
nicest
like
way
that.
possible.
I get
But
it.
it's like the grotesque style of 90s like cartoon,
Yes.
like
I
purely
mean,
distilled
honestly, I
into
would
a
also
video.
say like a very Ralph Bakshi aesthetic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, like people are calling this an Etta and Eddie game. They're calling this a everything game. Like it is everything about that. But then the soundtrack is so specifically like an homage to, I think, like the capabilities of like GBA sound chips, and then going a little bit past that.
Yeah, it's very obviously like you have real guitars in this, right?
Yep.
But that horrible lead synth, it's so cool.
I'm gonna
Like it's
move on to the next one.
grinding in your ears, like it's so good.
And then there's a whole guitar solo. But I also wanted to pick up the bit from like the final boss. It is 4
Which
stages.
section?
Or no, it is 3 phases. So I want to get at least a bit through the first phase, into the second phase, then the third phase. So very like you know, the idea of like this is the final boss, this is what's going on, is what this like little section is about. The guitar becomes like the recurring riff here.
You wouldn't expect a game of this style to have very complex stereo mapping, but I like it.
Yeah. And then yeah, just like giving the samples of some of the things that'll show up in this whole. All right, you can go to
There's
So
labeled
this is-
sections, so
yes. And the fun part about this second boss is that you find out, oh, the boss is fucking insane, actually. It's very YouTube poop music video.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, this is just one sample that's getting used for this section.
Okay, I like this a lot. I gotta try this game now. I like this.
Yeah, I
music
feel
a
like
lot.
you would
It is-
actually really like this game a lot.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. Like I
I would
absolutely
have
love.
put Pizza Tower and Juicin', but I didn't play enough of it to really like solidify it as a pick for myself.
Yeah, I mostly watched a whole bunch of it. It's just why I know I know the music pretty well.
And again, we have the recurring themes for this section, but that's fine. You can go into the boss rematches. So again, this whole idea being that like, shit, Peppino's gonna fight all of the bosses again. Oh boy, he's a very like stressed out. He's stressed. He's going through this shit. He
love
doesn't know what's going
how
on.
simple that riff is. It's like the stupidest riff ever, but like it works.
Yeah.
Oh, it.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot. This thing has my vote for sure. I am absolutely sold.
Oh, I need to let it build
It's
up
too
too.
fucking nuts,
Yeah,
dude.
this is all build.
So good.
I do need it to pick up though.
There it is. And then at that point, like the fact that it also mixes with the gameplay, where it's like you realize, oh, when I hit a boss, Peppino's pissed off enough that we're just blitzing through these.
Yeah. There's a mechanic in this that like Peppino is so fucking anxious and depressed at this point that he is killing everyone and brutally destroying
this
them.
part.
So he's just going through every boss and just glassing them. It's great.
This is like there's a bunch of bits in this that like obviously show the person who made this isn't that technically adept at making music. They just like have very good taste.
Yes.
And I appreciate that a lot. Like this thing absolutely has my vote.
This soundtrack also has like the most remixes of Funiculi Funicula that you will find in a soundtrack.
Okay.
Because that is the pizza, pasta, put it in the box theme. Okay, cool. There is like a little bit here. Yeah, so this is like the final piece. You're at the final phase with the pizza boss again, and it's like stripped down.
No, I think this is great. Honestly, like
Yeah.
it just shows how much what. I mean, I wouldn't say that's for anyone else, but what I value in music, right? Like, the mix is so freaking uneven every time we change this instrument. Like, the volume goes up and down so crazy. But, like, it just sounds good. Like, it just keeps up
Yeah.
the energy very well. It has these recurring motifs. Like,
And
the
they're-
instruments don't come out of nowhere. The guitar keeps playing throughout. It's so good. I think it's great.
Again, I had to choose two tracks out of a very eclectic soundtrack, but I think these two highlight a lot of what is going into the rest of the soundtrack.
All right, let's move on to the last one in this category, Sea of Stars.
I need to play that so bad. Oh my fucking god, this is the same synth from Streets of Rave. I love that synth.
This is my favorite one. I don't want to talk over it. Just let me vibe.
I really need to get back to that game.
I need to start it.
Talk a bit about how it's connected for you, Franny.
Hold on, I'm vibing.
Okay, fair.
Alright, anyway. Okay. So I don't have any idea if Sea of Stars was meant as like a spiritual successor, like homage to Star Ocean.
It's specifically Chrono Trigger, isn't it?
I have no idea. I never
Yeah,
played
there
Chrono
were
Trigger.
there were 2 Chrono Trigger likes last year.
I'm gonna
I
move
know
on
it's
to the
one of
next
them.
one.
And they got like the
Oh
composer
my
who
god,
worked
that
on
sub bass is
Yeah.
so fucking good.
they got the composer who worked on Chrono Trigger to work on a few songs for this game.
Yeah.
It's just very good, especially because it, is one of those games where it's like starts out as fantasy and then like halfway through the game you go to fucking space. So like they have
I mean, to be fair, at the beginning it's pretty clear that it's sci-fi as fuck. Like,
yeah, but they're like in a little fantasy area. And then you specifically go to space. Or like interdimensional things. And so there's this nice mix of like distinctly sci-fi inspired tracks, distinctly like more fantastical inspired tracks. There's also a huge functional and narrative like purpose for day and night. So a lot of songs have day versions and night versions. There's also pirate versions. So there's like
There are pirate versions?
yeah, because there's pirates that you hang out with and they also play music. So when you're like at inns, they're on the stage and you can have them play different songs, and they're usually just like pirate versions of like other songs on the OST.
That's badass.
So just the amount of work that went into it, and also the range of vibe, and it just all slaps. And it's also one of those things where a lot of these songs it's what's playing in the background over and over while you're traversing through a space, and not once did I ever get annoyed by it.
What I'm liking about this is that it's going for a very like synthy, like chiptune-y feel without necessarily being chiptune. Like it's trying to be evocative of
yes,
like
yes,
like an older style
it's done
video
with real
game.
sense, but it's channeling that type of composition. Yeah, totally. I mean, it just sounded so much like that first track. It's so much Streets of Rave. It just fucking blew my mind. Yeah, absolutely.
The whole game is like evocative of these old JRPGs, and it is like excels in pretty much all of the categories, especially music. So here we are.
I will say I like it a lot, but it just doesn't like. Mario had the same problem, but those songs are so old that I just kind of like can't see it in my head because I've heard it so many times. But listening to this, I can't get a good idea of what the game is like. Like it sounds
It's
very
Chrono
cool.
Trigger. It's what it is.
Right, but like it just doesn't sell me on like a particular aesthetic in the way the other music did. Right, like even the music from Rise of P, like I can very easily envision that game just from listening to it, and this isn't doing that for me.
I mean, I would say that about most JRPGs, but I mean, honestly, it's just pure vibes whenever I hear a JRPG soundtrack. But I don't know, I just like this one.
I like it a lot. It is very good.
We're here. We're best presentation. We're gonna present things. Our category for not just things looking nice visually, but like how the visuals also sort of blend with the audio and the overall aesthetic vibe of a game. That's sort of the spirit of the award when it comes to best presentation. And let's just go ahead and start it off. Maverick, you want to hit us with why Hi-Fi Rush is one of the best presented games of 2023?
Oh my god, Hi-Fi! It feels like I've talked about this game a lot, and it's because I have, obviously, but I don't know. There's a lot that this game does to like just get everything together, man. Where this little section of the game, Chai is going undercover, got to figure some stuff out from this geek Zanzo.
I hate it when you have to figure things out from a geek.
Just call me in. I can help.
No, wait. I got an idea.
So this section gets you to a new mechanic.
But Chai's back with something new. The parry.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. If you parry exactly
And
the an enemy's
you might be asking, Maverick, why didn't you put this in best mechanic? It's less
and I don't need to run.
the part itself and more just how the game shows you how to use this new part of your move, or like of your moveset.
Don't worry. He'll tell you how many times he's gonna hit you. First we'll see and hear the timing. Then it's your turn to parry it back. Here's how it should go. Now you give it a try. Bring it on. Remember to parry during the attack phase.
Also, this guy sucks at it.
Not bad, but you're gonna want to master this to stay on top. All right, how about we get back to it?
I love to get back to it.
Chai, did you just black out?
Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Watch this.
And so yeah, it shows you like what's gonna happen, how to parry it.
Need more data. Again.
It's a little bit close.
It's 2 times, man. You got this. Come on. It's just not. He's not clicking.
That's the thing. Like Hi-Fi Rush does a lot visually to show you what rhythm is.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing too is like you'll see these moments where like characters are talking to one another. That's all relegated to the bottom of the screen so that you can still focus in the center. The HUD elements are like kept off to the side. It's nothing like too small that you can't notice it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also not going to be like glaringly like out of place. Every like enemy too is presented, you know, pretty like straightforwardly. If an enemy is blue, you know what to attack it with. If an enemy is a different color, you'll probably have something to correspond to it.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to parry, it'll show you what the parry is that you need to do. It's very in tune with the idea that like we're making a music fighting game, but not everyone is musically inclined. So
Right.
let's help out with that a little bit. You can skip to the next part, or
No, I haven't.
here's just one of those moments.
Go on. Enraged enemies will pull you into an attack that can only be parried. Look for the timing and parry back for a chance to take them.
Great attack. Great follow up.
Yeah, you know.
Well, now you get a second chance. You could not even nail it. Could not even begin. You got
Nope.
this. Come on, you got this. Christ. It really feels like this person just doesn't, like, understand how to play video games.
Again, this one in particular, I can see people having trouble with.
There you go. Good job. Boom. And you got the achievement. All right, that felt awesome.
That sure felt awesome.
You've earned my respect. My bonus? No.
So here's another party member who just like teamed up with, and he lost his yearly bonus.
Looks like Zonzo's burning through his budget.
Zanzo's immature creative vision prevents him from seeing the realities of development.
Damn.
No budget, our development pipeline comes to a full stop.
Chai, goad him into throwing something lavish at you. Check this. Now we can see Chai drain the budget in real time.
So the whole bit about this fight is that you're basically making him like throw budget at you.
Mm-hmm. I just noticed that these pickups are designed to look like 2D, but they actually are like 3D objects when you turn around. That's really cool.
Yeah, like a lot of the aesthetic derives from sort of like this. It feels like a comic book you would see in the back of like, for me at least, it feels like in the back of like a Disney Adventures. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not like a full scale graphic novel, but something that like has that late 90s anime experience,
Mhm.
but matched with like someone that like was really keen on like Carl Penders or like I forget the name, but like DuckTales.
Need help?
Not Ken Penders.
And yeah, Ken
Like-
Penders is the Sonic guy.
Yeah, Ken Penders is the Sonic guy. Maybe a little bit of that, but more like I want to say Carl Brooks. maybe. But you see how like everything is coordinated in a way. Oh, you got to use macaron for these specific doors. You got to go in for these specific points. You catch him in the middle of setting up the big robot.
You know, this kind of reminds me of this one time that I was editing video for my concert footage, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna use the crowd fist pumping to sync up the footage, only to find out like 3 hours into the project that the crowd was offbeat.
This is the guy too that does JoJo poses, right? I know that.
Yes, it's also the guy that does JoJo poses.
This is all because of you!
Then he's dead.
Enough talk. Now let's see what you have on Spectra.
I think like with the presentation as well, it does a lot of that like smarmy, oh, get a load out of this kind of humor, but it never feels like bad because of it.
Yeah, it feels very on brand.
Yeah. And then this all leads to a quick little bit, because you're kind of like, oh man, what was that supposed to like? What an anticlimactic boss fight or whatever. That would lead to this whole like chase sequence that, again, this is also the safe for streaming category.
Yeah.
That they're going with, but this would have been like the Number Girl song.
Right.
Which I think I already talked about before, so I'm not like belaboring too much.
Sure.
Again, like there's all these parts of the game that are just so easy to like talk about because they all like bleed together in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like you're getting like the little character interplays while you're still playing parts of the game. It's not all like in the standard 3 centimeter walk sequence that you get or whatever in like other games. And then
We
you're
call this
dodging
the Dynasty Warriors school of writing.
I was thinking like the Uncharted or the, oh no, was it the Arkham Asylum walk?
No, I mean when they're just shouting things over you fighting, and that's the whole way to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so yeah, it's like a little bit of chase, and then you do some fight sequence, like very structurally sound.
Yeah, very dynamic too.
Yeah. And the fact that like, again, getting a little bit into audio, I'm not gonna at this point it's like, what else do I talk about with that? But, at least showcasing that staying in a genre can still lead to like multiple different dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Or like ways to like pronounce that genre sonically.
I like when they do these like scorecards like mid cutscene. Those are always fun.
Oh, it's a class. Again, some of the people that are already working on like Capcom, like Beautiful Joe.
Great job. Great job.
And so the game over screen looks like that. The Zanzo bit is like mimicking.
You know what I just realized? Chai just looks like Woody.
A little bit. Calm down, Chai. We're your friends. Shut up, Cinnamon. I'll kill you. Oh man, green paint. No,
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah, the paint's back. All right. Anything else you want to cover for Hi-Fi Rush and best presentation? Presentation.
Presentation. I think the best thing about Hi-Fi Rush's presentation is that it isn't trying to hide the fact it's a video game.
Yeah, I see what you mean by that, for real. Especially when so many other games are trying so hard to be unbelievably hyper realistic in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it isn't afraid to say, here are our levels, here are the stages you're doing, here is where you need to go, we're guiding you a little bit, but also it's up to you to get to the next point.
Right.
So figure it out.
Walker, would you like to take us into why Alan Wake 2?
I think Alan Wake 2 is a game that's basically all presentation.
Okay.
In fact, one of my main gripes with it is that it's so presentation heavy that it kind of borders on being a movie game, and then I would be contractually obligated to hate it. I think it does quite clear the allegations, but it does get really close to the border.
Right.
The Saga bit does have its highlights, but it is a lot more normal. It just looks nice. The Alan bit is based around this whole like rewriting reality concept. So you see a lot of interacting with the environment, and it really does get really fucking cool in the way that you can just change the whole world in like seconds, and that's how you progress through the game, just using writing to alter the place. Like in here, you can see a bunch of like the basic gameplay, and then it switches into one of the like set pieces, dialogue set pieces. I don't know how to call them. They call them echoes.
Oh.
Like they are these interactables in the environment where you can see like, echoes of like a conversation that happened sometime. And you use these to like get new ideas to write into your story.
Huh.
And if you go into like 30 seconds into the future, and you can see there are like silhouettes of the people talking, and they pace around the room and stuff. That's why you have to stand in a specific spot to get them to play, because otherwise you wouldn't see them. And if you go further, like 15 seconds, or just waits a little bit, you can see how he changes the story, and the stories get the changes to the environment actually do get really fucking moody. Like in here, he's gonna make it so the train was derailed with fire, and then you go through it, and it's like a little spooky like set piece. I don't know what to call it. It's just ambience, but it's all ambience. Like the game is all mood.
Right.
There's like 12 enemies in the entire game.
That's really interesting. I also noticed like when that thing when he gets the ability to get an idea, it pops up in the corner, and it tells you like, hey, this is a plot element. You can look at it on the plot board. Which
it is a little bit handholdy, but you can actually bypass a lot of the cogboard sections if you don't want to.
I'm not criticizing it. I'm saying like that's actually like really interesting. Okay.
And but I've been looking for the best example of this, which is the next Alan segment. Near the end of this level, you decide that the whole gimmick of Alan decides that the whole gimmick of this story that he's writing now is that the hotel is haunted by the devil who's killing everyone, and you have to go room through room, making every room be super fucked up. And in the words of Radiohead, you do it to yourself, and that's what really fucking hurts. I think the game's whole appeal is just that it's a very well presented game. Like it's well staged.
I have to say, sorry to interrupt. Like I really,
go ahead.
especially in a category where we're talking about aesthetics, the deep red lighting bleeding into all of the blood that's on the ground is so evocative. Like that's such a cool effect.
I think this is the best level in the game.
Okay.
And there's a lot of play before this. Before this, you run through the whole hotel, making it haunted. And that one is like it makes it all purple instead. And when you decide it's the devil, there's just like corpses and blood everywhere, and you have to go through every room, making it so the devil is there.
Oh, good.
I think the game's whole selling point is that it's just really flashy in a way that really sells the ideas of the stories. If this doesn't have good presentation, then I don't think it has the right to win anything else.
I'm fully
too bad. There's no
that.
winners this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone's a winner. Everyone is a winner.
But
awesome.
no, yeah, I think like the main thing I see out of Alan Wake is the fact that it just looks so like I think it's easy for it to have the appearance of say like, something that is Lynchian. But I feel like Sam Lake does the thing that I think a lot of people forget to do, which is take their inspiration and make something new with it. Like at no point does it ever feel like again, if Sam Lake is inspired by, like Kubrick, by Lynch, by specific aspects of Twin Peaks, I see a little bit of, all these other pieces in there of just seminal horror cinema to an extent. The fact that Alan Wake is an author, an acclaimed author who's being tortured by his very writing, like all of that is I would say like, ooh, look at that. Like the FMV is really cool too. The fact that he's choosing to have just like actual moments of like recorded video in his games, that's fun.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think it does border on being a movie game. Maybe it is, but if it is, then it really does just make all of those eat dust because it just has like such a much more well-crafted voice to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really does have a very distinctive style in visuals and pacing and storytelling. It's really hard to say that this feels like almost any other game.
Yeah, and again, like if Alan Wake is, iterative of ideas he had already been working on in other games, and it just feels like a distillation of all that. That's something else when it comes to having the chance to like work on similar presentations so many times until you get to that point.
This one is the take on the concept fight from the first game, the one that I just put in.
Spoiler
just their own
alert.
take. Yeah. And you can like be fighting, and these guys are projecting themselves into the sky with art.
God, that's sick.
A whole lot of paranatural crimes happening right now. It's fucking awesome. I want a t-shirt. Show's drawing a crowd.
It is just that fight again, huh?
Yeah, it really is literally just a fight again. It was a little bit harder because this combat system was not made to take on more than like 3 dudes.
Right.
But yeah. And you can just be this. I made the same mistake this person is doing, which is I looked away from the show the whole time.
I mean, you do kind of gotta. Oh, I love the like coloring with the flares there. That's so good.
I mean, Remedy have spent way too much of the tiny budgets on graphics, which is kind of a mistake in my eyes. But it really does result in a game that looks really good.
All of their stuff looks amazing. Like I think that's absolutely a worthwhile investment.
I just think it's like a really good looking, well presented game overall.
We'll just go in media res as if we're not doing this completely on the side of everything else.
It's just going to be a little weird that it's just you and I talking for
Oh yeah, no. It's it's going to be so extremely normal. Spencer, would you like to talk about why System Shock 2023? I almost said System Shock 3. How nuts would that have been? That was announced, right? That was like
it was announced, and then I think it was canceled quietly.
Was it canceled? Yeah, that's probably true.
I don't remember. It was a weird time.
System Shock 3.
I feel like System Shock 2023 did well enough that maybe it'll be uncanceled, but it might have just been oh shit, we're doing something weird here. Let's shift gears for a bit, but we're gonna like tell people it's canceled so that they don't like sit around waiting for another 7 years.
Now, the first result when you search System Shock 3 is a Reddit thread that says what happened to System Shock 3.
Oh boy.
And just reading this, it sounds like it isn't canceled, but it's like in development hell in the sense that it's like nobody's working on it anymore. So
Right.
it is what it is. You know, someone's probably going to pick up that project at some point.
Probably.
But let's not talk about System Shock 3. Let's talk about the System Shock game that did come out, which was 1.
Yeah, Night Dive Studios went and remade the original System Shock. I think it's from 1996, 1995, somewhere around there. And they remade it in a modern engine with modern graphics. And I put it
1994.
1994. Jesus, that's like 1 year after Doom.
Yeah, it's an old ass game.
I put it up for best presentation primarily because they did a phenomenal job of preserving the original aesthetics of that game from over 20 years ago, but also retaining a lot of the more modern design affectations. Like, there's really good lighting in a game. There's really good, like, sound design. There's, like, physics, which there was kind of physics in the first game. Like, when you throw, like, a grenade, like, you can see it, like, slide across the ground. But it's, like, it's the early 90s, you know? We don't have, like, the Havoc physics engine or any other bullshit that you usually see in games now. But the part that I really was, like, impressed by was the fact that if you compare shots of original System Shock and new System Shock, levels, like specifically like the medical sector, like the first opening, like they're basically 1-to-1 in terms of their geometry and their aesthetic. But the new game makes them more like real places and not just geometric like cube rooms that have been put together because it's 1994 and this is basically the best we can do. So the whole of Citadel Station looks more like a real world, like, livable place. And I brought up Doom earlier, but the thing about Doom that was really good was its level design was more focused around what that game was at the time. It wasn't really interested in, like, making places look like a real place.
Right.
But that's not the priorities of Doom. Places don't have to look like real places. Like, you might go to an area and you might, in Doom, and you might go, oh, this is like a computer server area. Okay. And in Doom 2, there's a level where it's like, oh, this is like a downtown metropolitan area. But it's like vague gestures at those concepts, not like fully realized. And in System Shock Original from 1994, the medical sector kind of looks like a medical facility. Like, there's medical like beds in places everywhere, but it's like, it's so far in the future, and it's also like a space station with artificial gravity that you only get those vague gestures at what places are like. There's later areas where, like, there's like they mostly use textures to sort of convey the tone and mood of a place. Like, there's one area later that has, like, red carpet flooring, and you can kind of guess, oh, this is, like, the fancy area of the station. But in System Shock 2023, that place is fully realized, and like the better lighting engine and the modern graphics really help to convey that.
Yeah, and it's not even just like a full-on it's not even just like a full-on like Unreal Engine Nintendo hire that man kind of upgrade where they have made things hyper realistic. They've gone with a very distinct art style that's really high fidelity, but still keeps like the artifacting of like something like a lower resolution video game or something that's like glitchy, and it looks so cool, like complemented with the like higher fidelity text, well, the higher fidelity graphical models and like lighting and everything. It's such a really interesting and unique design decision that I think still manages to evoke the same feeling of the original System Shock. which is incredibly impressive.
I like that you brought up like fidelity, because I've always been thinking about it as they've got high fidelity in terms of the polygon counts, the models, the lighting, the engine, the physics, but then it's like low fidelity in terms of the textures, but only in specific areas. Like the textures are high quality, but they're artificially like bloat the pixels to a higher size. So like on like UIs for the gun readouts and like text on screens, it looks extremely crunchy and chunky in a way that evokes like the old game.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, and it's just super charming is the thing too. Like I really just adore the art style just in general.
I thought it would be like a bit off-putting because like now like your character has like, because in the first System Shock game there wasn't really like a view model for your character. You just kind of shot stuff and then you got to see the projectile, but it wasn't like Doom where you have like the gun in the center of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But now your character has hands and they do like gestures and like they interact with the environment. When you apply a medical patch, they literally pop it open, take it out of its container, and then put it on their skin and activate it. Your character holds their gun like a modern FPS game.
Right.
But I thought that would clash with the fact that like a lot of the guns basically look like Fisher-Price toys. But again, it serves the specific aesthetic art style they're going for, where you're basically like playing an early 90s computer game.
Yeah.
As if somebody had like drawn a comic, like a companion comic book for that
game. Yes, that's
game.
a really good comparison.
And then they were like, yeah, this is just a video game that you can play now. And it plays more like a video game, which like the big thing about original System Shock is people always like to say that it plays like an operating system because of how involved it is to do basic tasks like inventory management.
Yeah, it's a lot like I don't really know the best comparison for it, but it's like it's a lot like you're controlling someone controlling a person, you know? And there's and this is a result I think definitely sort of loses that feeling by making a lot of the actual actions that you're making way more you don't have to go through several menus in order to do that stuff, but they still maintain it for things like inventory management and like selling things and stuff like that. But like actually playing it feels way more like a modern video game. Which like I understand why people maybe not dislike it, but think it sort of doesn't have the same feeling as the original game does. Because there's like a real weightiness to the original System Shock that this game sort of doesn't have, just because you're playing like you don't have to grapple so much with the actual physical reality of controlling a body, you know?
Yeah.
It's trying to strike a balance between being a faithful remake while also being like trying to evoke the same spirit while also still trying to make it approachable to modern audiences, and I think it's very successful. I think it's very successful in that regard, at least.
Yeah. About the only area that I felt like the game could have improved on in terms of its like presentation was the UI, but the UI itself in this game is a bit more serviceable.
Yeah.
Like, they definitely didn't want to preserve the old UI, which is largely just lists of text that tell you stuff, and then like a picture of like a very vague outline of what a gun looks like. And they also didn't preserve like literally every weapon, because when they were going through the weapon roster, they were like, we have like 3 different pistols. We don't need this. We'll just get one pistol, and then we'll have one like higher caliber pistol that can be like your Magnum. But like there was literally like a space AK-47 in the original game that you can get, and they were like, we don't really need this in this game. So, but the UI is largely just serviceable. They just kind of show like pictures of the different items you can pick, you can acquire in the game, and it's not super impressive to someone like me who's really big on game UIs. But again, it kind of just takes a backseat to all of the other stuff in the game anyway. So it's fine that it basically just serves a practical purpose and isn't really, because they could have easily gone the other way and have over designed the UI and have it be like really crunchy, and it would just be extremely distracting, kind of like the original game where it has like the huge overlays on everything.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think they did a fantastic job bringing this ancient game into the modern era while preserving its art style and making it it's an absolutely gorgeous game to play through.
Yeah, I only really got to spend a little bit of time like actually playing it, but I really enjoyed the time I spent just like looking at stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I think one of the other things I do enjoy, you talked about how the guns, the weapons and stuff, they look sort of like toys, and I think that actually evokes a spirit of like a 90s pop, not pop, but like, what's the best way of putting it? A sort of like corny, like high, like bright colors sort of approach to science fiction. This very campy sort of style that I think works extremely well, especially when it's paired with what is otherwise like a pretty brutal situation, because all of these, even though these things look like toys, they still feel like they're natural in the world, and that's what's impressive about it.
Yeah, the pistols especially look like Fisher-Price toys, as I said, but like when you fire them, they sound fairly realistic for a gun. They don't make like big huge blams like we're used to in video games. They make like eerily like realistic gun noises, so they feel more grounded, even though their physical design would suggest otherwise. And like, it's the fact that they decided to go with this, we're going to make the levels and everything look almost identical to how they were designed in the 90s, but just kind of make them more, touch them up in the detail department and make them a bit more like sensible in terms of lighting and stuff, since we have all of these advances in technology. It ends up having this unique feel to it it's not cassette futurism like what you would see in like Starfield. Mm-hmm. It's not even really trying to be like retro futuristic either. It's trying to be like that. It's like I said before, it's like trying to be a comic book interpretation of science fiction if that comic book was written in like, it was made in like the late 80s, early 90s. It's like, it's got like
it's got a feeling like this is you would see all of these designs like in a cartoon, you know?
Exactly. I don't want to say like grungy, gritty in like a grindhouse sense. It's just kind of like
it's not bad.
It's kind of in like a punk sense without actually being punk.
Right. I almost said future punk before, but I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's the right terminology.
If you look at this game and I tell you, yeah, the player character has a mohawk, you would believe me.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
It's that kind of game. So
he does. The main character does get to flip someone off right at the beginning of the game, so that's they know what they're going for.
Yeah, that's the general attitude. But again, like, it still like all feels like a believable real world. This isn't like it's kind of the same effect that you get from, you know, do the old pull here of like Team Fortress 2, where all the designs are really like stylized and stuff, but it's all couched in a reality. Like, it's not like, oh, these are cartoony characters that just kind of do insane zany stuff. Like, that's just what their world looks like, and it feels realistic, and the level design emphasizes that. So it's a pretty good game. I'm very impressed with it.
Next up on our list, I Don't Exist. Or I Doesn't Exist.
That's right.
I don't know anything about this game. I'm really excited to see what you show off.
Well, first of all, it's a game that takes like at most 2 hours to play.
Okay.
So it's
That's
like
my
very
kind of game.
succinct. It's like a modern hybrid text narrative that's about like existentialism and trust and the power struggle between program and avatar and you in the middle of it. I'm just gonna pop the trailer in there because again, it's like less than 2 hours.
Sure.
There's not a lot of playthrough videos on YouTube, but you'll get at least an idea of like the visuals and stuff. So most of it is like the text game and then like a point and click where you go collect things and solve simple little puzzles. And it transitions from like this kind of style, the text game, to like a first person maze runner, and then like a weird bit where you like do a photorealistic like scrapbooking activity.
Ooh.
That kind of breaks down. And this whole game, it breaks down like this, where there's like two different worlds kind of bleeding into each other. And they just have a bunch of parts where you just basically walk around and interact with things and try to solve this little mystery.
It looks interesting just from the jump.
So a little collage activity, a little scrapbooky activity. It's like very strange. And it starts to break down. And there's like little bits where it's like these like hyper realistic pieces, and then some pieces later that are more like the little when you kind of go into the program trying to, you know, basically either get yourself out or get the avatar out.
Mm-hmm.
And so why I put this in presentation was honestly because of I think it looks cool, and I think different elements are very interesting, and especially because it's like, ooh, it's about like again existentialism and surrealism and like power and control a little bit. And I think having all of these weird elements sort of mishmashed together with like an underlying kind of cohesive mystery is really good. Especially there's like ways that this game could have done it like more or like better. Like it feels a little incomplete, but what they've got here is like a good, like it's presented well for the story.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
yeah, this is really interesting.
it is really interesting especially for the like short time investment. I had a great time with it, and it's one of those ones where you like replay it to kind of get farther. You're one of those ones like, oh, you again, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
the classic.
Let's move on to Final Fantasy 16. Now, when it comes to this category personally, I'm not ever super invested in games that are all about like high fidelity. I'm way more about games that are artistically really interesting, trying to do new things with games aesthetically that we rarely ever see. But the thing is, Final Fantasy 16, and in its highest highs, like even at its lows, it still looks like a really nice game. But it's like at its highest highs are some of the coolest looking visual set pieces I think I've ever seen in a game. Period.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loaded up the Bahamut boss fight. This is the boss fight that comes next after Titan, which is the one we watched. We watched for Best Moment, which is also an excellent fight. But this is like the one that comes directly after it. Well, you know, a while after it, but but yeah, I think the way it handles both extremely high fidelity visuals with incredibly over the top like particle effect stuff is absurdly cool. And it like there's so many ways where it could look extremely corny and it just doesn't. Like it manages to pull it off.
Right.
Gonna get into the boss fight in a bit. But I still like how distinctive these incredibly over-designed versions of Final Fantasy summons still look and feel like Final Fantasy summons. I love the way, like, mid-cutscene, it'll still, show you the names of attacks.
Yeah.
I think even the QuickTime event stuff is, like, very dynamic and flashy. The way it, like, integrates the music, too, is really cool. And it also manages to take these, what would otherwise be, like, really absurd, absurd conceptually fight scenes, and manages to make them feel very still feel grounded and I don't want to say realistic, but like you can at least empathize, I guess, with the situation that's at hand. They're also, like, messing with scale again with this. Like, this gigantic crystal, like, blossoming, and you see under it just the city. The city that it's supposed to be on top of. It's really cool. The actual fight itself, the actual, like, these big boss fight moments to themselves, still looking really cool, even in action.
I like how the scale and the quality of kind of everything that's going on here remains consistent between, like, the little cutscene moments and the real moments. I like that.
I'll skip ahead a bit, because this fight fucking goes places. We can watch this where it just integrated straight into a cutscene. Just like straight from attack to cutscene in these really cool ways.
Oh, that's fun.
I need this game on PC, like, so bad.
One game.
You learned Spitfire. He learned a new attack. There's also, like, mid boss fight here. It's you switch perspectives to start playing as Phoenix, and it just becomes fucking what's it called? Panzer Dragoon. You know?
Oh, this is good.
It's so tight. It manages to, like, blend these two seamlessly. Like this same attack that Bahamut is using in both of the different, like, not only in the cutscenes but also in the fight itself, is using it in these two different modes of play. It's really cool. The thing about this that I tried to, like, really emphasize when we were talking about, like, best moment is, like, the game feels very scientifically created in a lab in a good way to sort of like create some of the coolest moments you've ever seen in a video game. Like, you can see in this cutscene, Bahamut's life bar is down to nothing.
I mean, I would, just like I said for Alan Wake, I would argue Square Enix's thing for many, many years has just been about making the flashiest games you've ever seen.
They have, but, like, I feel like they really nail it with this game in a way I just haven't, I haven't even seen out of them before.
I'm gonna be extremely unfair and biased. They always nail it. With Final Fantasy, at least, they always nail it. They can fuck with the story and the systems and everything else, but, like, cool, they always get it.
Defeated. There's 20 minutes still left in this. 25 minutes.
What the hell?
Joshua got fucked up.
Yeah. That like shield he uses too is something he uses like in the middle of the battle. So it's like it's integrating those like abilities between cutscene and combat extremely well too.
Stays pretty coherent too. Which
Yes.
is excellent.
Oh, they're doing it. We got a fusion, baby.
Well, let's fucking go.
You're going pretty high up there, guys. Hey, you guys are going pretty high up there.
Oh, is this the one where he's like, he's gonna destroy the whole Earth?
Are you ready? Ready!
I'm smiling.
I bet you are.
I have to be fair. That's the lamest dodging a million beams thing I've seen. He just went
Hold
straight.
on. This is just starting.
Alright,
No, but you have
alright.
to dodge and weave and like make them all fall into a straight
This is
line and
just
collide
starting.
with something else.
Hey, we've changed things up a bit.
I'm wondering if is this just Panzer Dragoon? No.
No.
It's way cooler.
We're having the boss fight in atmosphere.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
This game is not safe for epileptics.
Yeah. There's a lot of flash. I think there are actually settings to like turn down flashing, if I remember. This is a new ability you unlock where you just shoot a beam. You get like a big ol' fucking like teleport that blinks you over to where they are. It's so cool. It's like it takes the same skill set you already had as Ifrit and just like makes all of your like attacks way cooler. And now you're just having a huge battle in space. It's dope as hell. This fight like ramps up in a whole bunch of like really cool ways too. Like it starts to go in the Toho direction a bit. This guy doesn't get it. He's like, I'm just gonna walk up and just start hitting him while huge beams are hitting me. You know what? Fair. I love when giant beams fire off, and you have to dodge them.
Now, don't get me wrong, I love a giant beam.
Are you butting a giant beam?
I think the one thing I notice is that, like, 16 has a lot of blues in its palette.
You are fighting the blue boss here. But yeah.
I would
Really?
argue
I thought I
Final
was fighting-
Fantasy's thing is white and then right after that it's blue.
Yeah.
I thought I was fighting the gray boss.
I love the way, like, when it gets staggered and broken, it just starts falling. It's really good.
It's so freaking cool. Like I said, like these guys always make the best looking stuff, in my opinion. Like they basically form my taste in everything. So What the fuck is happening now?
We got sigils.
Is that unlimited fucking blade works?
We got sigils that shoot beams, you know? The fact that this fight, like, escalates in the ways that it does, and, like, each part still looks incredibly visually impressive is so dope. It also...
So these are... Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, too, like, I played this on a big 4K TV, so, like, all of this was just constantly a sensation, you know? It feels very designed for that, too. Like, you're gonna experience things you don't quite experience watching it.
Like this, you would do better with like a 7.1 audio than like a good TV, because the ground just feels like it's going to fucking explode.
I feel like if you're gonna do a fight
this one. I knew it.
between like godlike creatures, I mean they're really doing the damn thing.
Oh, good god!
This is a good representation of this kind of fucked up fight.
Yeah.
How the hell does Final Fantasy outdo Dragon Ball Z?
This isn't even like the final boss either. Like, this is the mid-boss.
This is fucked up.
It's really tight.
Jesus Christ.
Pretty big number.
You
Star
know,
explosion, yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Game's pretty good. We did it!
I didn't know they sung the freaking da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That's so good.
I'll just stop it there. But yeah, no, just like I think like the way it's visually impressive is so much more than just like the visuals are high fidelity or there's a lot of particles. Like it manages to take those things that I would normally just kind of not really give a shit about when you have like a huge budget in a video game, like using these big high resolution like gigantic particle effects that are shooting everywhere and taking up so much screen space, and manages to like really master how to make those effects still look really cool at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like more like the high tech doesn't preclude a good artist from like doing their stuff, and in fact, it helps them make better stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's all I really had to say about Final Fantasy 16 when it comes to presentation.
I think I am completely sold, but I mean, you say Final Fantasy, and I'm like undressing myself.
I mean, I'm working my way through 8 right now, so.
You say Final Fantasy, I add an extra layer. Heyo.
Franny, you want to finish us off with A Space for the Unbound?
Yeah. This was primarily when we had the visuals category.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's presented well overall, but it's more visual.
Yeah.
It just has like a very vibrant, dreamy color palette, and the pixels are just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of detail in like the backgrounds and all of the like whatever items you get, the expressions, everything. There's just, I think what fucks me up is like just the level of detail in all of the settings.
Mm-hmm.
And the story has a lot of surrealist elements. So the visual design of some of the characters and just stuff like that, it's just like all over the place in a way that's not like annoying or doesn't make sense. It's just very interesting and creative.
Oh, I actually really like the musical choices here. Going for a very, like, I want to say, like, SNES era kind of, like, not full-on sound chip, but trying to do that kind of compression. Sounds really cool.
Yeah, I mean everything about this game I loved, obviously. But presentation-wise, the visuals just really like knock it out of the park.
There's a ton of games that obviously go for a pixel art aesthetic, and there are tons of games that manage to do really evocative things with it. Like I think like Norco especially does a really good job with it, and even that's not trying to go like full pixel art, just trying to go like it's using that as like a framework for what is otherwise like really cool artistic aesthetics.
Yeah.
But it's obvious here that they want to like use like the minimalism of pixel art in order to express what they're trying to express. I like the way the game too is also just wrapped around this view screen.
Yeah.
That's cute. I liked that. I like when a little sound effect pops up with a what's it called? What the fuck is it called?
What was it?
A speech bubble.
Oh.
A bubble or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exclamation.
An exclamation. Why not?
Bro, forgot what bubbles were.
I was trying to think like what's a word for someone exclaiming. This full-on shot of these two characters just like sitting next to each other. I really wanted to see what was happening here. Oh, that's really good. The trying not to eat popcorn at the same time. That's good.
It's very cute.
You fucked up. You fucked up. You're doing a bad job.
You're scaring her.
Just never eat popcorn. Just don't do it ever. That's like 3 times. Oh my god. These are like the same like mechanics of like combat in the game too, right?
Yes.
Good job, you beat Riot Leader. Oh, I love the way you see his like reflection. That's really good.
Yeah, there was just so much care taken into like the idea behind and like the execution of the visuals that it got me pretty immersed.
Okay.
Love this fucking game.
All right, we ready to move on to best audio?
Sure.
Best audio. You doing good, man?
I'm good. I literally am just like racking my brain. How else do I show like the audio
Right.
of Hi-Fi Rush?
I mean, yeah, that's the one that's like.
Hey, listen, here's how you do it. You bring up every single band in the soundtrack, and then you name every person that's worked with those bands that has a Grammy, and you're just like, I rest my case.
We've seen so much of Hi-Fi Rush that like it almost like feels like a given that like this should just be here. Like there's not even any arguing you have to make.
Yeah, it's one of the few games I can think of where the audio affects the mechanics in a good way.
Right.
And that's really hard to do because most people don't pay that much attention to audio, right? Like,
right.
What's that puzzle in The Witness that nobody could solve because everyone is like tone deaf?
Yeah, no one was like listening to the like sounds that were in the environment.
Yeah.
I remember that one, God. And I hate The Witness. I hate that game.
Let's not get into it right now.
I respect it even though I hate it.
Yeah, okay, that's yeah, I can leave you alone with that one.
I would say just like share a fight with a cool song. Like, what's a song from that you really want to hear played?
9 Inch Nails. 9 Inch No. Go ahead, do whatever you want.
We can do a 9 Inch Nails. That sounds good.
Like that's the thing. I've shown them all for other bits.
I'm sure there's stuff you haven't shown.
That's what I'm looking at. I can at least show the one that like personally was my least favorite. But still shows like, there's still parts of this game that are like interesting. So this little bit is that you're like crashing a party.
Ooh, I like the violin section.
This is already like a genre shift I didn't even realize was in this game musically.
Oh yeah. Let me actually see what time like the boss fight starts.
I just want to let this play out a bit because I've only seen I feel like I've seen this integrate mostly the same style of rock over and over again without that many genre changes, and this feels like the most significant shift yet.
Yeah.
I wonder if people have done like mod packs or different music yet.
Bet you.
Maybe, but I don't want to hear it.
I mean, because it's so easy with music, you just sync the BPM.
Of course, yeah, it's so easy.
But again, it's the thing where it's like, the thing about it being specifically associated with music is that I don't trust a lot of people's music choices.
No, I agree.
No, yeah, totally, but
you can do it, and I'm not going to say that, like, you know, who am I to stop you from making it your own thing?
Hi-Fi Rush mods Nexus.
Hi-Fi Rush, Discord
cool.
Howlin' at the Moon.
Oh, cool, Nude Peppermint. That's one of the first ones that's there.
I mean, that's always the first one.
It is. Okay, this is actually kind of sick. Actually, hold on.
What?
You gotta look at this Unjammer Lammy mod. I'm sorry to just like completely stop this in the middle.
Oh, what? Like a regular conversation? That's okay.
I'm sorry, but like, look what people are doing with this game.
Yeah,
that's tight. I don't care who you are. That's sick.
No, that one's cool.
Yeah, that one's got the spirit. Oh, this is good.
Her dress is protecting her. You won't be able to directly damage her. You'll have to stun her to even have a chance.
Okay, yeah.
Dress is a part of me. You'll never.
That's so good. I like that.
Right now. That's my dress you're scratching.
That's really good.
But yeah, like, the entire bit with this game is that it's so seeped into its music. But then you have to have moments like this. Like, there's another fight where it's like, the boss fight is set to, like, Mozart, but it's like techno-funky Mozart. Because that's also the same, boss fight where you're, like, doing a whole sequence set to the Prodigy.
This is entertaining. Let's raise the stakes and turn down the lights.
I really liked how they kicked the vocals back in with that transition. That was really good. Oh, I love the way you can hear her stomping. Oh, that's good. Like with the lights out section.
Yeah.
I can't believe this is your list favorite. This is really dope.
It, again, like, sonically, it still was a lot of fun. There's just something about the mechanics
No,
that
I do think it's the weakest that we've seen, to be honest.
Maybe.
It's not bad, but it does feel like a tad below the rest.
All eyes on me, Mimosa. This crowd's in the palm of my hand, and they want to see a real performance. Let's see who they're here for.
Oh, you almost fucked
My
that one up.
man! Come on, dude, come on!
Well, this is a different guy, but he's still fucking
Come
up.
on, man! Why does no one have rhythm in this player base?
You know?
Okay, he nailed those. Okay, he got into a groove. Okay, fine.
Oh!
Nope. Spoke too soon. You know, like Walker was saying before, yeah, Nine Inch Nails, Flaming Lips, Fiona Apple, Number Girl, The Prodigy, the Mozart, like, it's all the Joy Formidable, fucking, it's all stuff that is definitely from, like, a high schooler in, like, the late 2000s, but it's also really good.
And it's not just like the music itself, it's like also the ways that it's integrated into the game, which is why this is the category for this game, like, if anything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on now to talking a bit about Super Mario Wonder. Now, Super Mario games generally have pretty good audio just all around. I think what makes Super Mario Wonder distinct is that they're trying with this game, I think, more than other games, to make it more musically inclined. Like the secret truth about Super Mario Wonder is that it is a music game. Like, there are levels like this. I think this is the first one you run into, where like everything that's happening in the level is timed to a song, barring player action, of course, because this isn't nearly as like. This isn't nearly as, like, musically in tune as, like, Hi-Fi Rush, but it's the kind of thing where it's, like, stuff like this is also encouraging you to also play on the beat as well. And it doesn't, not just with, like, musical levels like this, but it has a whole bunch of different types of musical levels that I think work really well. This is just, like, one of the type of it where it's, like, everything that's happening around you is to a specific song. And these are still enemies that you can run into and will hurt you if you try to touch them. Or you can kill them. And if you kill them while you do that, then they stop singing.
That's cute.
There's a whole bunch of different levels like this. There's these two, which are just like, they take an older song and make you like collect these little star coins or flower coins like to the notes of the song, which are like, you know, they're not particularly complex in terms of like audio. This person isn't even doing it, they're just walking over the music blocks. Good for you. But like it is just like a fun little nod back to like the old songs and like integrating them into a small little mission just for mission. Mario's out here to murder. Mario's out here to kill. Putting it in a small little level just for you to like play around for a bit and jump around and like.
Okay, I like that bit.
Yeah. It's integrating it in a bunch of different ways. I'll say a ding against this game in terms of audio is there are those little flower buddies around.
Hey. Hi.
And they love to do the Whedonisms, you know? But I like this level specifically because it's like...
Did he just fucking speak?
Oh yeah. Did he... Are they throwing stuff at us?
I hate this now. What the fuck?
But like, I like what this is doing with the mechanics in terms of like, it's encouraging you to stay in the center, and like the points where you jump are directly on beat. But you can just jump whenever, of course. Yeah, good job, man. He did it so poorly.
That was fun.
Then there are challenge levels like these too, where the platforms are appearing to the music. And the tempo of this ramps up, and those platforms start to go real quick. Because it isn't just that they're appearing, but the ones behind you are disappearing. So you have to just move.
You have to jump on the end, yeah.
This is the easy one of these two. I like the way it encourages you to think about the tempo, so you like you're moving in prediction to the sounds that are coming.
And it's every bar too. Like it's actually well tuned to like how you would digest a musical piece. I like that a lot. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah. That's cool. That's really cool. I mean, I wouldn't say it's anything outstanding, but it's cute.
There's more here that I want to show. It's not just that it has like there's a whole bunch of different ones like this. Like this is the tutorial for this next mission, which is you get like a little improvement to your jump when the ninjas like jump to the beat, which to the next mission, how do I keep saying mission? To the next level that comes up is like that's part of the core mechanics of it. I'll let it start so you can see. There's a meter now with him with every time he jumps, and he has to jump on the beat. And if you stop jumping on the beat at all, like this level just stops. So you have to keep going. This person is doing it very badly. Like, you're supposed to be sprinting through this. The entire level is timed to it. Like, all of the obstacles that are coming up, you do not need to play it like this. You can run at full speed. I don't know what you're doing. This is actually driving me insane. Because it's like, oh man, they have really strategically built this level so well so you could just sprint through at full speed. I'm getting so annoyed. This guy's like walking at a snail's pace.
How do I do something cool to be pussy about it?
You get a sense of what's going on in this world. Oh my god, he plays this world for so long! Here's another one of like.
I think he doesn't know how to sprint.
No, I mean, maybe we'll find out. Here's another one of the levels where the things around you are happening to music. And of course, like the boos will approach whether or not you're looking at them. But I really like that the ones you're not looking at are singing while the ones that you are hiding their face. Also, there's like a little bit of surround sound to it too. Like if you're looking in the direction of a boo that is not singing because you're looking at it, it'll be quiet in the surround sound mix. It's really dope.
Yeah, I mean you can hear that the big boo is in the left channel and everything.
He stops if you look at it. It's cool. Again, it's a game for children. None of it is like super revolutionary, but I think like so much of it is like so cool in its implementation.
I mean, this is, yeah, it's incredibly polished, like any Mario game, right? Like Mario doesn't half-ass things.
Yeah, and then the final boss fight culminates in an actual fight where you need to fight on the beat. It's a game for kids, so it's not super complex, but like it's really cool how it implements it. Like this platform will only jump up at a certain point in the beat. It starts off slow because you're still like learning the mechanics, but then it starts to get faster as you go. All of Bowser's attacks are on beat as well. Let me move a little further. next stage of this, it splits it into two halves. So one of the platforms is going at one half of the beat, and the other is moving at the other half. So it's all about. So not only is it all about like jumping on the correct beats, it's also about like the correct positioning, as well. This guy just jumped and he was on the blue part, and you can hear in the channels as well. Like the right side is jumping up on the right of the stereo channel. The left side's jumping on the left. It's cool. This guy whiffed it. That last one you're supposed to jump over by like doing the big ol' like super jump on above it. But then you get even more platforms that you need to jump to a certain time on. And it's all about like integrating the music into the gameplay. I think it's really dope. The fact that like this game plays with its music in so many different ways, especially as a game for children, I think is really cool and like really worthwhile. Let me see if there's like one last good example here. Oh, here's the reprise of the Piranha Plant world. It's your second time going back to it. And it's much harder. Because the first one is just like a nice casual walkthrough. I did not even know that power-up was there. If that was, this would have been so much... If I knew, it would have been so much easier. I love that you need to avoid that guy while he's coming at you. I love every time like the tempo increases, everything just gets much faster. Like the scrolling speed starts increasing and everything.
Right.
When I was playing this, I found myself like just doing every action to the beat because it made sense. It's not like Mario Maker levels of difficult level, but, you know, every one of these is a hazard.
Right.
But yeah, that's basically what I have to say when it comes to Super Mario Wonder. I think as a Mario game, it really tries to integrate its soundtrack into the way you play it in so many like fun little ways that I think Mario games
Can I make a stupid question?
Yeah, go for it.
Is this really the first time an official Mario game has done this?
In terms of like the way it's integrated audio?
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. Like,
no, I mean it's an earnest question because like we've seen so many mods with these kinds of ideas over the years that I can't actually tell how many of those memories are from fan mods and how much it is actual Mario games.
Oh, like the way like it auto scrolls like audio and stuff. That's usually fan mod or like Mario Maker stuff. This is the first game that like actively integrates it into the levels. And also like I think the big part of it too is this is post the Mario movie, and that movie also tries to be very musical. Like it has a bunch of like big musical numbers and everything. So I felt like
musical numbers like Take on Me.
But I felt like after that movie, the fact that like it felt like part of what they were trying to accomplish with this game was trying to make the musicality of Mario more in line with what you're actually doing while you play. Like, I think this game does a really good job of integrating a lot of ideas that people have had for Mario, especially when it comes to something like Mario Maker, into an actual full-fledged game on its own. But on top of that, like, hey, they're really trying things they haven't tried before, especially with the way audio is integrated. And I think that's why it's worthwhile in a category like this. All right, are we ready to move on to our last little bit here for best audio for Alan Wake 2?
Oh fuck! It's on me again. I still have the clips I opened last time, because last time I thought we were doing best audio for a second, so I have the clips ready to go this time. You know.
Well, I see. That's why you included the concert part.
No, I mean that's too. But I think using music is kind of a cheap shot. No, not the way you said it. Not the way you said it. But like the way Alan Wake puts it, is just like the music is there. Like there's not that much.
There's a musicality to Alan Wake too.
It's just music, and like one of the things that I thought was really cool is also very similar to what you said. One of the things that becomes recurring in the game is the like saving room theme music, and you use that to get to safety in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first. I think this is the only time that it happens besides the ending. But you get put into this labyrinth because the scenario keeps repeating and repeating and repeating, and the only way to get through, and the game doesn't even tell you, is there's a radio playing music, and the music guides you to the actual path that you have to follow. You can't get out of the loop if you don't go to the places where the music is sounding.
That's really
and there's
cool.
not even any indication. It's just like, well, there's music, I better follow it. This guy should leave here. Like, what the fuck are you doing, mate?
He's looking at stuff. Hey, give it a second. Don't worry.
He doesn't get it. Oh my god. Yeah, yeah, okay. He's finally like doing it. I don't know if you remember in Control. It's the same guy with his dumb tangos. And he's after this mission, you start seeing his poster in the saving room.
Interesting.
Just like in Control, he appears to like get you out of trouble sometimes.
Cool.
And this is like the first time he does it. He just shows up and guides you out of the paranormal labyrinth. And the other cool thing I thought that the game did is when you're playing as Alan, it's just fucking mean. Like, it just plays voices that aren't there. When you're playing as Alan, it does like the same spooky shit that the old one did. Like when you get too far away from the path, the shadows go crazy and stuff. But also, it just has shadows calling out to you when they're not even going to attack you. Like you're just walking and they go like, "Wake!" and they spook the shit out of you all the time. Yeah, see? Like these aren't
Pretty
even
good.
enemies. You're just walking by and they're always calling out to you. It's so nerve-wracking. And they do that all the time. I like can't think of a way to find a place where there's like 7 of them, but sometimes you can't even hear anything because they just won't shut up. I think it does a pretty good job of making the place feel really hostile.
Right.
When you get far away from people, they start shouting to you with radio instead of like verbally, but that's a trick that we've seen done in like Spider-Man and stuff like that. I think sound goes with presentation, and like we've said, like Alan Wake's a game that is almost all presentation, and the musical segments do add to that. But we've already seen like all of the songs in the game.
But even just generally, like a lot of the voice acting is super like. I feel like a lot of it, like some of it is very camp, but in a way that makes a lot of sense for someone who's writing, who in story is someone who is a horror fiction writer.
Oh, totally. I mean, it does play a lot with that. This one section where Sam Lake actually appears in the game, and he's like, "Why are you such a bad actor? None of this feels real."
Something lingered here. A line from a half-forgotten story.
I like how subtle a lot of that is too.
Yeah, it's always very quiet. You can almost miss it, but like sometimes there's like 7 of these dudes, and it's like, okay, well now you can't ignore it. Oh, another trick. I don't know if this guy stumbles upon it, but another one of those things is there's a guy that shows you the secrets in the map as Alan, and the way you find him is also by following him because he's always singing a tune. Yeah, you hear all this Alan Wake, like the worst. It's the worst. After like 2 hours, it really gets on your nerves.
Right.
Yeah, you see, he's humming now, and you just follow him and find all the secrets in the level. It's cool. I think it's just well done.
Oh, that is neat.